Color Guard advance. The audience, please stand and join us in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. You may be seated.
My country gives us the privilege of expressing beliefs or opinions without fear of persecution. I am an American.
My country gives each one of us the opportunity to advance according to his or her ambition. I am an American. My country offers the living American demands informed, intelligent. I am an American.
My country gives us a privilege that we shall protect and demand, even with our lives. I am an American.
My country needs love of freedom, faith in democracy, justice, and equality. I am an American.
My country is and always will be the land of the free and the home of the brave. I am an American. The class of 2003 graduating seniors of Girl Scout Troop 24 welcome you to the Glen Ellyn Jaycees Community Awards Dinner. Have a nice evening.
One of the anecdotes
at this time, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to introduce one of the past presidents of the Jaycees, Mr. Brad Briggs, who is going to extend his welcome to you.
How can you forget that?
Well, I gotta say, I'm pretty amazed to be up here. Those of you who don't know me, I was born and raised pretty much in Glen Ellyn. How far back? Definitely not as far back as some distinguished people.
If you're running for election, it's not good.
I'm sure I'll have lots to do. But I'm really glad to see all the faces here, all the people, past, present, and hopefully some future Jaycees, distinguished citizens and friends of Glen Ellyn. We're all here because in 1951, 8 distinguished, enthusiastic young men decided to charter Glen Ellyn Jaycees chapter. We are here this evening in celebration of that, as well as in celebration of our Community Awards Dinner honoring volunteers in Glen Ellyn. I'm very happy that we're all here. Please take the time to speak to everybody around you. We got quite a cast of characters. That's all I have to say other than
Thank you, Brad. I'd ask Deacon Ron Yurkus from St. Petronell's Church to come up now for our invocation.
Yeah, because 69 awards
I invite you now to take a moment with me in prayer before we start our celebration. I tend to get very excited at our church, and I always love to say my favorite psalm verse is from 118, that this is the day that the Lord has made. Let us rejoice and be glad in it. So before I even begin my prayer, I just think of this beautiful day that we've been blessed with, even though it didn't start off great this morning. It certainly was this afternoon. And so we bow our heads in prayer this evening, God. We know there is only one God, but He has many names. He's a God of blessings, a God of love, a God of peace, a God of power and might. So many different names. We pray to this God this evening. We pray to a God who helped develop men and women into the leaders of our community. We pray to a God who gives us all different gifts and talents that we might serve one another faithfully as we follow our Lord. We thank God recalling those who chose the Jaycees as a way to build up our community with their gifts and talents and the willingness to give of themselves time after time after time. We thank God for those who will be honored here this evening, for all of their services in so many different areas, whether it's police work, fire work, education, and so many other different kinds of volunteer services. We thank God for all of those who volunteer, who might not even be receiving awards, but make our community a better place to live, shop, and work in. And we ask for His blessings now for all of us gathered here. We ask also for the blessings for those who in the future will replace those who have worked in the past, that they will model the leaders that have gone before us. So God of all of us, we ask you to bless our gathering. Bless the food that we're about to share. Bless those who have prepared it, those who are going to serve it, those who will even clean up after us. Bring us home safely, so that tomorrow we might wake up fresh with a feeling that we want to serve one another again. And we ask this all in your holy name. Amen.
Thank you, Ron. It's dinner time, so enjoy it. We will be back after dinner. I want you also to know that Glen Ellyn TV is filming this for future broadcasts on cable TV, so be careful if nothing else. We first want to give a hand to the Glen Oak staff for serving us so well this evening. We're going to take a little bit of time to go through some introductions. I hope you will bear with me. We'd first like to ask the presidents of the past presidents of the Glen Ellyn Jaycees to stand. I'd ask that you hold your applause until we have them all standing. Ward Miller, 1969 to 1970. Mel Jager, 1972 to 1973. Dave McTaggart, 1973 to 1974. Del Miller, 1975 to 1976. Lynn Bertrand, 1976 to 1977. Rich Weber, 1978 to 79. Jim Burke, 1979 to 1980. Rich Ballinger, 1980 to 1981. Roger Brown, 1981 to 1982. Doug Herwald, 1985 to 1986. Brad Binks, 1986 to 1987. Karen Schmidt, 1994-1995. Nancy Silvasi, 1996-1997. And Bill Nicholson, 1998 to 1999. Let's join in applauding these people. We also have with us a distinguished number of past citizens of the year, who I'd also ask to stand as we call their name, and please hold your applause again until we're concluded. Tom Lawson, 1973. Fred Leonard, 1975. Stuart Stone, 1976. Mike Fermento, 1978 and 1987. Jane Rio, 1982. Jim Burke, 1983. Tom Botaggio, 1990. Bob Luganville, 1994. And Bob Walgren, 1998. Let's hear it for them. Now we have a number of community members that I would like to introduce to you that we're delighted to have with you. We have the new superintendent from District 41, Dr. Jack Barshinger. Our outgoing superintendent, who has done a magnificent job for us, and we're so sorry to see you leave, Ty Irwin. Marty Silvati from the Glen Ellyn Chamber of Commerce, our president at this time. Marty. Tom Botaggio, member of District 87 School Board. Tom? Bob Waldron from Bridge Communities, doing a super job here. The Honorable Pat Leston, one of our associate judges in DuPage County. The Honorable Jim Raisins, DuPage County Auditor. And a fellow none of you really want to meet, but I'm going to introduce him anyway. In his profession, nobody really likes to see him come in the door. The Honorable Richard Ballinger, DuPage County Coroner. We did have a number of correspondence from people of former Jaycees who were unable to be with us. Actually, we had a large number, but I want to extend the comments from Stan Kuchapa and Larry Zimmer. I'm sure you're familiar with, a lot of you are familiar with those two gentlemen. They just couldn't make it this evening. They are from long distances away, but they said have a good time on them. They didn't say that we should send them the bill for the drinks, however. Ladies and gentlemen, this whole program was really a great thing to put together. We had an unusual opportunity to bring together all of the former Jaycees on the 50th anniversary. Now, it was commented that we're really 51 years at this time. But if you do remember, we are always 1 year behind. That seemed to be what the Jaycees were always at in their presentations. So don't feel bad about it. 50 years is 50 years, and we're delighted to have it. So at this time, I would like to begin the introduction of our presenters for the various awards. The first award is going to be presented by Dan Kroger from the Glen Ellyn Park District for the volunteer.
Please forgive me, I didn't prepare anything for tonight, and my boss over there is extremely nervous at what I'm going to say. The volunteer of the year this year for the Park District is Larry Pecorella. Unfortunately, he cannot be here tonight. Being the sports dad that he is in Canada with his son at a hockey tournament. But he really wanted to be here. He feels very sorry that he's not, but he would like to thank everybody in the Jaycees for his award. For those of you that don't know Larry, he is the co-chair of our Youth Baseball Association, this is the first year that we have merged together the Park District and this Baseball Association, and he was by far the hardest worker in getting these two organizations to communicate and get everything lined up so that we could do this. So I know that he would definitely want to thank you for this, and I will let him know that we have a lot of people here, and that I spoke on his behalf and didn't quite embarrass him the way I was hoping I would. So.
Just adding to Dan's comments, you might be interested, we had 150 people attend the event this evening. Some of them from as far away as Kentucky. Stand up, go ahead, stand up. Our next presenter is for the Outstanding Law Enforcement Officer is our own Police Chief, wonderful man, Phil Norton.
I have to rest for a minute. That was quite a break. There are two reasons, generally, why one would recognize an Officer of the Year. One, for a single outstanding event, such as rescuing someone from a fire, which has been done in the past, or breaking up a serious crime like an armed robbery, which also has been done in the past, or for the day-to-day efforts that an officer puts out. The officer this year falls into that second category. He, on a day-to-day routine for him, does exemplary work. He's one of our new truck enforcement officers, So for any truck drivers in the room, we're sorry, but he's going to get you. He's really good at this stuff. But I made a few notes from his file, and what I did was I just picked about 6 months worth of work from him, because that was going to be enough, I thought, to share with you. And if I can briefly, in December of 2002, based on an expired registration sticker or expired license plates, it led to the arrest of a passenger in the vehicle who was wanted on 5 warrants, 2 for domestic battery, possession of cannabis, possession of drug paraphernalia, and driving while license suspended. This officer does this almost on a routine basis. His tenacity in talking to people and his dogged determination in not letting go until he solved the crime or whatever case he's working on is quite remarkable. Also in December 2002, he alerted officers coming onto the next shift of suspicious activity near a building, which led to the arrest of 2 individuals for possession of cannabis and being wanted. Also in December, Officer Butler, who is the Officer of the Year, has shown on a continuous basis that he uses officer safety at all times. This was a quote from one of the supervisors. They've shown that he uses officer safety at all times, excellent quality of work, excellent violator contacts, and excellent work coordination. In January of 2003, at an accident scene, Officer Butler recognized one of the drivers, just recognized one of the drivers, as someone who known to him to use drugs. After speaking with the subject, he admitted to using drugs earlier in the day and was subsequently arrested for DUI drugs. Then in March, on his way home after work, because he works 24 hours a day, it seems like sometimes, while monitoring his radio, he heard of a domestic battery where the offender had left the area. He was being looked for. He saw the vehicle at Lambert Roosevelt, turned around in his personal vehicle, started following him, trying to coordinate the responding units. The offender in this case realized he was being followed, tried to get away, but because of Officer Butler's use of the radio and his professional demeanor, marked units were in the scene in a matter of moments, and they were able to stop him, I think, by the Shell station. This led to the arrest of that offender for not only the domestic battery, but also for DUI. As I mentioned, in 2002, he became our first truck enforcement officer. Truck enforcement, we do that for a couple of reasons. Mainly, the overweight trucks in the village tend to tear up the town, tear up the street. So when an overweight truck is stopped and a ticket is issued, the fines go towards repairing that street. It goes into the fine money goes into the general fund towards street repair and some of those issues. He's very active. He's known in the department for making great arrests out of routine activity, and he is our Officer of the Year because he is the guy we will put up on a pedestal for younger officers and say, be like him. And I'd like to introduce to you tonight Officer James Butler. I have to let you know that because there wasn't a dinner last year, and Jim is a relatively new officer, we were able to pull off this year for the first time in a while a surprise here. He thought he was going to have to give a speech on truck enforcement. The Outstanding Law Enforcement Officer of the Year, Glen Ellyn Jaycees and James C. Butler.
Needless to say, I don't think I'll be a detective. I appreciate that. I mean, I've been with the Glen Ellyn Police Department for almost 3 years now, and it's good to be recognized for something like that, and it's totally floored me. But I do appreciate that, and thank you very much for the award.
Wait till the end. take and interrupt at this particular moment to introduce the committee who worked on this program, because they really deserve a lot of thanks. They were very hard workers and attended a lot of evening meetings. I'd ask them to stand, those that are here. Mark Arnold, Sue Pinks, Alex Demos, Doug Burwell, Brad Pinks, Jim Burke, Joe Entridge, Debbie Patrick, and Rich Weber. Also at this moment, we would like to take and talk to you a little bit about the whole putting together of this program. As you know, for the last couple of years, we have not had the Community Awards program. We thought it was most appropriate to regenerate it, and that's what we're doing this evening. But in that regeneration process, ladies and gentlemen, it took a heck of a lot of work. I mean, you guys are spread all over the place, and trying to find where you are at and find telephone numbers and addresses was a task even far beyond my capability. What we were able to do, however, was to enlist the aid of one of my associates, Georgia Cook, who is here with us this evening, who really was, as the old story goes, the woman behind the man. And Georgia, what we have here is an award of appreciation from the Glen Ellyn Jaycees Scholarship Committee, which hereby extends to you as commendation and gratitude for your exemplary service and dedication to the JC community and the community at large. Thank you very much for your help.
Thank you very much.
We will now move to the Outstanding Firefighter, who will be presented by our Fire Chief, Scott Raffensperger.
Thank you, Mike. Some people may feel that this may be a misnomer, calling Stuart Stone a firefighter. I think we know Stuart Stone as the chief. He's been the chief in this community for 23 years. Stuart has the attitude that many of us do. First of all, you're a firefighter. Take this position because you believe in what you're doing, and no matter what your rank is, no matter how many bars you have on your jacket, you're a fireman. Stuart Stone is the ultimate fireman. I can tell you that I came on the department in 1973, and Stuart Stone was a captain. And I followed him down many smoky hallways. He taught me how to be a fireman. I'll also tell you how the fire chief in this town is elected, and it is an election. For 23 years, 50 guys approximately, every year vote on who's going to be the chief. For 23 years, our guys voted him as our chief. 2 years ago, I became chief. Stuart had decided that he's been chief for a long time. He bought the farm out in Savannah, and he basically stepped down. He has not been voted out as chief ever, and this is just unbelievable to me. I thank you, Stuart, because now I am the chief, and I'm following him like I did when I first started, and he's helping me out a lot. Stuart Stone, Outstanding Firefighter of the Year. Oh boy.
Fermento says they gave me the microphone. This is the first time I've ever had the opportunity to use a microphone. Scott, thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, it's without a doubt, I've had to serve this community for 40 years, fire service. And Scott will tell you, I have the same enthusiasm, if not more today, than I did 40 years ago. And due to Scott, he's allowed me to be second assistant chief, still serve you. And it's a great privilege to serve this community, because I think there's so many great groups and organizations out there. But the epitome in this community, bar none, is the Glen Ellyn Volunteer Fire Company. And I thank you very much, Scott.
At this time, ladies and gentlemen, we'll ask Paul Herwold to come up for the Senior Memorial Award. Doug? Doug is actually presenting the award, which was named after his father, Paul Herwold.
Well, first, I gotta say, I've never seen Stu be so short of a speech. So, a little bit about my father before we get to the award itself is he came here in 1951, which is the same time the Jaycees got started. He came to Glen Ellyn because he thought it was a very nice, quiet community and a beautiful community. He was a very dedicated person to his church, to his family, to his friends, and to his community. He was, my gosh, my wife, I don't know, to follow in his footsteps is so hard because he was in 3 organizations almost his whole life here. He was in the Glen Ellyn Chamber of Commerce, he was in the Lions Club, and he also was in the Knights of Columbus. And I'm sure you've always saw him in the parade with his hat on and all that kind of stuff. So he believed that a foundation was very important to him, and so in the family and in the community, he thought, so he worked very hard, and to follow in his footsteps, believe me, is very hard. He started Paul's Street Service in 1951, and when he died in 77, I ran with my brothers for a while, and then I took it over, and let me tell you, a week doesn't go by that I still hear my father's name being talked about. So he was a very honorable man, and so I think this award does mean a lot to me and to our family and to the community. So I appreciate that. You know, and then when I heard about the person who was going to win the award, it's like, Jesus, like almost like they're talking about my father again, because her name is Betty McQuaid. She's 89 years old. She, in fact, she just had a birthday, May 2nd. She just turned 89 May 2nd. She was born in the west side of Chicago in 1914. She met her husband at a family party when she was 16 years old, and she married her husband 4 years later in 1934. She worked in the sales department at Sears for 15 years and raised a son, James, and a daughter, Pat. She now has 5 grandchildren and 8 great-grandchild. Betty lost her husband in 1990 after 55 years of marriage, and in 1991 she moved to Glen Ellyn, and then since then she has been active for the last 11 years in the Glen Ellyn Park District Senior Program. She's a volunteer monthly at the Seniors Luncheon. She makes beautiful crafts with the Wednesday Craft Group, which is a very important part of the women's group. She also is volunteer for numerous Park District special events and celebrations. Her dedication to the Park District and staff is unwavering. In addition to her volunteer work at the Park District, Betty also volunteers her time at St. Pat's and Faith Lutheran Church, where she makes quilts for the missions world. So I would ask Betty to come forward now to accept this award, the Paul Herwold Senior Memorial Award, presented to Betty McQuaid for the Outstanding Community Volunteerism by a Senior.
Thank you, everyone.
one, I want you to know that you heard that she was a volunteer at St. Petronell's Church. She has worked with me on a program that we have that is St. Joseph's Day. And what they do is they're the women, and Betty is one of the lead volunteers, that help prepare all of the food that we serve to nearly 3,000 people that come through. So I think she deserves another hand as far as I'm concerned. We move now, ladies and gentlemen, to Dr. Chris Danzoff, who is going to present the award for the Outstanding Educator.
I'm pleased to present Lucy Dahlman as the Glen Ellyn Jaycees Outstanding Educator. I've worked with Lucy since July of 2000, and in that time I found her to be an exceptional educator worthy of such recognition. Lucy is versatile. She has held many positions in these short 3 years, causing her to work with teachers, students, and parents in many ways. Among Lucy's fervent passions is her love of working with students for whom English is a second language. And I was fortunate enough to offer Lucy a position this past January that allows her to do that exclusively. Lucy brings great energy and enthusiasm to her work and regularly goes beyond typical expectations. Lucy is a member of our district's cadre of Catalyst teachers, a group of teachers that supports classroom teachers in their efforts to meet the diverse needs of learners in their classroom. This group of teachers has received intensive training in differentiation at 2 summer institutes at the University of Virginia. Lucy has also completed the Understanding Teaching Professional Development series and participated in a leadership symposium sponsored by the Midwest Principal Center. This in addition to completing her ESL endorsement and administrative certification. Lucy has great interest in arts education and support for ESL students and families, creativity, and curriculum integration. Lucy has written several grants to support these goals. Examples include a grant that she wrote for a summer library program in each of the past 3 years, which will continue this coming summer. The grant funds weekly transportation for low-income students and interested parents to the public library for book checkout and activities conducted by the library staff. Lucy wrote a book grant that provides at-risk readers with books in English and Spanish and companion audio tapes of the stories. Students take the book bags home for use with home reading with parents. Lucy was instrumental in laying the groundwork for a neighborhood resource center at the Main Street Apartments, which is in the Lincoln School attendance area. The center is a cooperative effort between DuPage County, local businesses and service organizations, and the school. The center serves almost 40 students every day after school who participate in homework support and other structured programs that they would otherwise not have. Lucy regularly volunteers time at the center as well. In addition, Lucy wrote a grant for an artist-in-residence program at Lincoln School. We were awarded the grant and Lucy coordinated the school-wide program last spring and this past fall. Lucy is a dynamic teacher leader. She is a person of action. One of the things I admire most about her is the fresh perspective that she brings to situations. She sees possibilities that others do not. Possibilities that are creative and focused on what's best for kids. Lucy is a clear thinker and holds herself to high standards. She's contributed significantly to the educational experiences for teachers and students at Lincoln and in this community. She is most worthy of this recognition, and it is my pleasure to present to you Lucy Dahlman.
Very surprised, very honored. All educators need this. And I was lucky one this year. Thank you very much.
Our next award presenter will be Jim Burke, who will be presenting the Distinguished Service Award. Jim?
Thank you. It's my pleasure tonight to present the Distinguished Service Award. It's the second highest award the Jaycees present at our Community Awards dinner. It is given to a person in recognition of long-term career of community involvement. It is for this sustained excellence and service to the people and the students of Glen Ellyn that the award tonight is being presented to Kathleen B. Schmidt. She has served as the District 41 Board of Education for 12 years, the last 8 of which as president. During her tenure, the board hired Dr. Irwin, and District 41 passed 2 referenda, allowing the district to move forward, renovate and enlarge the buildings, and provide needed programming. Also during her tenure, board meetings became more open to the public, with them all being televised. In her own right, she's a special education teacher with a degree from Penn State University and a law degree from Villanova. Super mom, student at Duke, and a daughter at Glenbard West. And it is again my pleasure to present the Distinguished Service Award to Kathleen Schmidt for sustained service to the community.
Well, thank you very, very much. I sincerely appreciate this. I am surrounded, however, by people who do what I do every day and have done so for many more years than I have. And I am very honored to receive this. And it has been a tremendous honor to live in the village of Glen Ellyn and to work with the wonderful people who I have worked with over the past 12 years. The parents, the students, the faculty, and the administrators of District 41 have just been wonderful. It's a wonderful experience. I don't know why everyone doesn't run for the school board, doesn't volunteer for different organizations, because you give or you receive far more than you give. And I would like to say thank you very much.
Isn't it great when we catch these people all off guard? That's the best part of the evening. Well, we're going to catch a few more people off guard. We're going to move now to the Scholarship Awards program. As you probably know, and if you don't, I'm going to tell you anyway, the Glen Ellyn Jaycees Loan Fund Committee was formed on February 20th, 1964. With an original deposit of $500. Nick Posgay, who was unfortunately unable to be with us this evening, was the chair of that committee. The fund was designed to provide low-interest loans to individuals who were entering college and were to be paid back after their graduation. This fund actually inspired the development of the federal program for student loans, which I think is a real tribute to the Glen Ellyn Jaycees. The Jaycees recognized that the repayment of the loans was somewhat onerous on the students. Therefore, in 1984, the fund was amended to the Glen Ellyn Jaycees Scholarship Fund. The purpose of the change was to award scholarships based on community involvement and financial need without having to repay them. This fund continues to be supported by Glen Ellyn Jaycees through direct donations and fundraising. To date, we have awarded approximately $40,000 in scholarships. It is therefore with great pleasure that I have the opportunity this evening as chairman of the Scholarship Fund to present the following presentations for 2003. But before I do, I would like to extend an invitation to all of you sitting out there that if you'd like to make a contribution to the Scholarship Fund, we would be delighted to have it. And remember, it's used for our young people in our community. That is the most important thing that we feel from the Scholarship Fund attitude. So I'm willing to take checks now or after the meeting. Let me also tell you that when we interviewed the students for the scholarship awards, we have a grading schedule that we use. The grading schedule emphasizes their community contribution as one of the highest scores that they can receive. We had this year 22 individuals who applied for the scholarship, and we will be awarding 6 scholarships this evening. I'm going to take them individually because I'd like to read from what they have indicated they are going to do in the event that they would receive the scholarship. I'd ask Hillary Binks to come up first. I'm sure you all remember this too, don't you? Yeah, I remember. This is what Hillary said in the question that we asked, what would you do if you received this scholarship? I hope that someday I can direct plays and musicals in the community, high school. In addition to directing plays, I would also like to do something in the acting and plan to join a thespian group in my community. I have been involved in the junior high group at First Presbyterian Church as a youth leader, and I want to help young people through their spiritual development. I've done some traveling and hope to get to Ireland and Italy soon, and I'm sure she's going to do that. And so, ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of the Glen Ellyn Jaycees Scholarship Fund, we present a $500 scholarship to Hillary Binks.
I'd just like to thank the Glen Ellyn Jaycees for the scholarship. In the fall, I'm going to go to Monmouth College, hopefully to be an English teacher. So, thank you. Well, I'm going to do the theater stuff too. But thank you very much.
Hey, Ron, I didn't realize that English. I thought it was just big English.
Our next recipient is Nicholas Liske.
English?
Nick, could you come up?
I gotta talk to her.
Nicholas wrote in response to our question, my future goals in life are to continue my education at Florida State, where I'll be majoring in sports management and minoring in mathematics and economics. I also plan on being involved in extracurricular activities like intramural sports and hall government. From college, I plan on getting a job as a scout for a sports franchise. My dream is to have my career revolve around sports because that is what I most enjoy. The Scholarship Fund is pleased to present to Nick a $500 scholarship. I was supposed to have these all in order. Our next recipient is Amanda Schreiber. Would Amanda please come up? Let me read to you what Amanda said. My future goals in life are to go to a good college and learn many things. I want to become a writer, so I plan to major in English or writing. I have learned a great deal through this year, and I am looking forward to learning a great deal more by working at my education. In addition, I want to see what the whole world is like. I believe that it is through experiencing the world that you are able to understand the needs of the people here at home. Amanda, we present you with a $500 scholarship. Our next recipient is Crystal Bruss. Crystal, could you come up? Oh, she was not at the very last minute. She became quite ill, and her parents called us and said that it was very disappointing that they couldn't be here, but she was taken to the emergency room with quite a high temperature and fever. So we will see that Crystal does receive this at a later date. Teresa Dorr is our next recipient. Teresa? We'll find you here, Teresa. Don't worry. I was told by Georgia that I should have had these all in order. But, you know, it's one of those things, you don't always listen to what she says. Teresa said, my future goals in life are to one day develop a not-for-profit organization for children with mental and physical disabilities. After I graduate, I would like to start working with children in the special district because they are so alive and so much energy. I want to give a huge part of myself to helping these children, even if I can only help in their lives for just a moment. I hope that my building an organization that providing children with caring support and unconditional love, that I can carry out God's work in a unique way. The Scholarship Fund is proud to present to Teresa a $750 scholarship. I'd ask Matt Suhada to come up, please. Matt responded by saying, my future and goals in life are to attend college at the College of DuPage for 2 years to get my associate's degree. I then want to transfer to Columbia College in downtown Chicago to pursue a Bachelor's of Arts degree in 3D animation. By this point in time, I will have gained more knowledge about the better universities across the United States in which to pursue my master's degree. At the same time, I will be working as I have been since I was 14 years old, with hopes of eventually getting a job in my field of interest while still in school. The Jaycees Scholarship Fund is proud to present to Matt a $1,000 scholarship. That's the wonderful part about being involved in the Scholarship Fund. You get to listen to all of the stories of these young people and what their future aims and goals are. And I would only like to tell you, ladies and gentlemen, that over the last 19 years that the fund has been in place, we have had many of the students come back and talk to us about their accomplishments. We have had doctors, lawyers, professional people of all types. Some of them are currently with us, some of them live in other parts of the state, but we have seen through the Scholarship Fund the ability to help young people further their education, and nothing, absolutely nothing, could be more important than that. I'd like to ask at this time to have Doug Herwald, Jim Burke, Brad Binks, and Rich Weber to please come forward.
Mike, usually you call on me, I get a check. You always call on me for a check. And I've decided since you had 22 people, I'm going to sponsor one more student. So you got to pick out one more student to get another scholarship. Good luck.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is Bill and Mary Johnson, who run the carnival in Glen Ellyn, who have consistently contributed $500 or more to the scholarship fund. I didn't forget you. I was keeping you to the end because it's always best to keep the best till the end. But I do want to say personally thank you to Bill and Mary because they have just been outstanding supporters of the scholarship fund. And believe me, we will put this to good use.
I heard it was going to be nice weather next week, so I want everybody to come out to help pay for that.
At this time, ladies and gentlemen, they're trying to wiggle this microphone away from. They should know better than to do that to a former elected official. But anyway, this time we're going to move to the most prestigious award that we have, the Citizen of the Year Award, and I'm going to turn the microphone over to, Mr. Jim Burke.
See, we tried to get the microphone out of his hand before he made that announcement, but he wouldn't do it. So, at this time, preempting his schedule, the committee has decided to make a presentation. I'd like to ask Rich Weber and Mark Arnold.
First of all, we ought to thank Mike, because without Mike's help tonight, this really wouldn't have come off. Actually, probably George's, but Mike spearheaded got all of us down there. Mike gave you the history on the loan trust. But what he didn't tell you that he's been the chairman for the last 27 years. Unbelievable. You know what I mean? How many presidents out here had Mike as their chairman for the loan trust? Most of us that are sitting out here. We really would like to thank Mike for this, and I'll let Mark take it.
Not only has he been involved in the loan trust, but since my days in the Jaycees back in the 70s, Mike has been a friend of the Jaycees unequivocally all the time. He has been a friend of the Jaycees, a supporter of the Jaycees, and from all of the Jaycees, I'd like to present this plaque to Mike Fermento, an Outstanding Leadership Award presented to Michael R. Fermento in recognition of your outstanding service and leadership as chairman of the Glen Ellyn Scholarship Committee. Very richly deserved award tonight. Appreciate your applause. Thank you.
I'm not going to.
I'm just taking the award.
Not wanting to give the mic up myself, I would also like to add that this event would not have come off without Georgia Cook's help. Georgia was always there. She always knew the answers. We'd call Mike and say, what are we going to do about this? Mike would say, call Georgia and ask her. So I would like to add my personal thanks to Georgia Cook along with the rest of the committee here. She has been an invaluable asset. This thing not have come off tonight. But thank you very much for your attendance.
Thank you, Rich. Mark? Now, we've come to the high point of the evening. The Citizen of the Year Award is given to a person who has contributed the most to the community of Glen Ellyn.
The recipient has 3 children, 8 grandchildren. Been in business in Glen Ellyn for over 40 years. He's the longest serving member of the Glen Ellyn Volunteer Fire Department for 44 years. It's not the oldest, I think that's Stuart. His wife is Nancy. And at this time I'd like the other 3 gentlemen to come up here with me. And the recipient of this year's Citizen of the Year is Ron Leonard.
Wow. I really didn't expect this. I'm really floored, but of course I'm very appreciative of this award. Wasn't too long ago that I pulled a fast one on Stuart for an award. I think he probably had something to do with it tonight. Not really? No. Not really. But once again, I'm taken back by this. I really am. I appreciate it very much. Thank you.
I will tell you, here is a gentleman that is really doing a wonderful job as Glen Ellyn's village president, Mr. Greg Matthews.
Thanks, Mike, for that. You told me I was going to get the award tonight. I just want to say it's a real privilege to be here on behalf of the village of Glen Ellyn. You know, you all in the room are volunteers and have done things in many different areas to help our community. And one of the things that you as volunteers do not expect is thank you or congratulations or accolades or anything like that. So it's really nice for me tonight to have been invited here by Mike and the Jaycees to celebrate and tell people thank you. Because you know what, it's really kind of nice to hear sometimes. So once again, on behalf of the village of Glen Ellyn, last week we declared the week through a proclamation, Volunteer Week, so it's particularly fitting to be here tonight. And have a good time. By the way, Phil took all of my time tonight, so I'm short. However, I will have the Officer of the Year sent home early, so you all can plan on having a good time and not worry about being pulled over on the way home. Thank you all.
At this time, I'll introduce Rich Weber once again.
Thank you, Mike. Please stand. And like
Talk
Michael
into
said,
the
it's like an inside front cover for the non-Jaycees, because I know all the Jaycees do remember this. Right, Dick? We believe that faith in God gives meaning and purpose to human life. The brotherhood of man transcends